Hey everyone, welcome back. And this is another anime review. Now, if you've been following my channel this month, then you know that I've been doing Halloween specials. Okay, I did the episodic reviews of all 4 of the Corpse Party episodes. Corpse Party, Tortured Souls. And then I did a full series anime review of that. Then I did the first season of Higurashi, and then after I did a full series anime review of that. And then I did the full episode reviews of the entire series of Higurashi Kai. And this is my full series episode review of that. Yeah. So, hold on a second, I need to check out the statistics here before I get into the review. Higurashi no Nakukoro ni Kai was directed by Chiaki Kon and produced by Studio Dean. And it originally ran from July 6, 2007 to December 17, 2007, with a total of 24 episodes in the end. Okay, for some reason it only ran for 24, unlike the first season, which ran for 26, I believe. But Higurashi Kai. Now, a lot of people will tell you that, and this is true, that while the first season is the answer or the question season, second season is most definitely the answer season, and they're meant to be watched back to back. Okay, which is what. Let me see here real quick. So September 26, 2006 is when the first season ended. Second season started July 6, 2007, so it's had to wait almost a year to get the answers. Yeah, that would have fucking sucked. Okay, I'm really glad that I didn't watch it back then. But anyways, though, so yeah, they're meant to be watched back to back, I think, even though it was so far apart when they actually came out. But either way, though, this season is very peculiar because I really loved it, okay? I really did, but not as much as I was hoping that I would have. And I really think that that's the big thing here. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. And although there were lots of things I loved about it, there were also lots of things I didn't like about it at all. And I'll of course get into them later on. Now, it starts out very interestingly, where right off the bat, it gets hints to getting answers, okay? Or they have hints to answers that we're going to get. Now, there are time loops in this season as well. However, the time loops aren't explained, which I'll get into that complaint later on. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's like, instead of the time loops happening seemingly without any characters knowing it, Rika, who's a major character in this season, is completely aware of them, apparently. And so she actually narrates the time loops, okay? Or the restarts, I think, as they're called. Which is very interesting. So it helps make the time loops or the restarts, or however you want to say them, a bit more bearable, I guess you could say. And I don't think there's as many either, okay? Now, there's a lot of answers that we get in this season, okay? First off, Orishiro's curse, probably one of the biggest answers that we get in this season. Orishiro's curse. What exactly it was. Apparently, in season 1, there was this whole, thing about some people believe it's aliens, some people believe it actually is a god, some people believe that it was the Sonozaki family, just creating the myth. But apparently, it was Mio Takano that created the myth. Yeah, you know that one chick that was doing research on Orishiro's curse in the first season who kept dying or disappearing? Apparently, we learned about her backstory where she grew up, where she was born to her parents, obviously, but they ended up dying in a bus crash, and so she was supposed to go to her uncle, Hifumi Takano, but unfortunately the assholes in the government wouldn't allow her to, I guess without her parents' consent, but they were fucking dead. So they basically put her in this orphanage, which was a horrible fucking orphanage. Seriously, they were, if they messed up even slightly, they were beat to within an inch of their life. Like they didn't show any of the torture scenes. But you could listen to them, and they sounded fucking horrible, and apparently those were some of the nicer ones. So it's like, it was a horrible place, but she did manage to escape and eventually find her uncle, okay? Or wait, no, she escaped, she was captured again, and then her uncle actually called up the orphanage and adopted her, okay? So she was basically saved, thankfully, by that. So, yeah, and her uncle was doing studies on the Hinamizawa syndrome, which is basically a disease in Hinamizawa, apparently from some sort of virus or poison gas or something, but that's not fully explained, unfortunately, where people basically turn into it has 5 stages to it, where people turn into maniacs, okay? The first stage is extreme paranoia, which kind of sucks, because that would mean that if anyone's paranoid, they would automatically be accused of having the Hinamizawa syndrome, you know what I mean? So it starts out with extreme paranoia, and then there's like other stages, eventually 4 other stages. One of the 4 other stages is like they go on a killing spree, and then the final stage, stage 5, is where they basically claw out their own throats and die that way. So but no one believed him. No one believed that the Hinamizawa syndrome existed. Everyone thought he was fucking nuts, but Mio actually believed him, and so when she grew up after his death, she actually tried to basically continue his research, okay? Which eventually led to her madness and actually her being infected with the Hinamizawa syndrome, okay? But the thing is, she actually created the myth of Orishiro's curse because basically she wanted to be viewed as a god, okay? So on the night of the cotton drifting festival, every single year, she would kill someone by giving them this shot, which I guess administered the Hinamizawa syndrome to them, and having someone disappear. Alright, and that's how the whole myth with Orishiro's curse started, with one person dying and one person disappearing. Or sometimes multiple people would die, but the same number of people would have to disappear, basically. And that's basically how it went. And she would always be the one who actually disappeared, okay? But in reality, she was the one pulling the strings from the background, but it would appear as if she disappeared, okay? And supposedly she, like, somehow, which wasn't properly explained either, like, got a dummy of herself or got a fake her or something, and put it in a barrel and lit it on fire or something, so that it would emulate her death. That's at certain times, like a time or two, she actually did that. Okay, so she was basically the one orchestrating this all behind the scenes. Okay, along with the Yama Inu, which was like this special ops organization that she ran from the top, basically. Okay, who all apparently believed in her research. However, she had no idea that she was actually infected with the Hinamizawa syndrome all along, and I called that shit too. If you watch my episode reviews, and you know, when season 2 was almost done, I called that shit. Seriously, that she actually had the Hinamizawa syndrome. Now, did she have it from the very beginning, which eventually led to her madness, or did she get it eventually? Did she get it later on, which caused her to go too far? That's kind of unknown. In fact, her actual status is kind of unknown too at this point. She was apparently taken in for treatment, but either way, though. So, and that's the basic gist of that. You know, with Mio Takano basically orchestrating everything from the sidelines. Okay, we also get more information on some answers on Satoshi, Satoko's older brother. Apparently, Satoshi is technically still alive in a secret room of the hospital, and Shion actually finds out about this. His mind is trying to come back from the Hinamizawa syndrome, which we found out that he actually got infected by, and so he actually didn't run away, but he can't seem to come back, so he's still undergoing treatment, and Dr. Ire promises Shion that he'll help him come back eventually, but unfortunately in this season at least we don't actually get to see that. And that's also really disappointing, okay? That we don't actually get to see that. But I'll get more into that later when I get into the flaws about the show, okay? But either way, though, that's something else that we get answered for us. We also get answered for us about Rika, who apparently is like the Hinamizawa syndrome was never fully explained. Apparently, it has something to do with her. Like, if people go too far away from her, then they'll get infected with the Hinamizawa syndrome. It's really confusing. Like, that's never fucking properly explained. It does have a lot of explanations in the season, but it also has a lot of things that aren't explained, which really sucks. However, it is explained, though, that the Hinamizawa syndrome is responsible for all the tragedies in Season 1. So, in the first arc of Season 1, Keiichi was infected with the Hinamizawa syndrome, but so was Rena and Mion, because I don't care what you fucking say, okay? The two of them were fucking nuts. I mean, you had fucking Rena, who was laughing maniacally with a fucking hatchet, okay? And constantly screaming like she's fucking insane at Keiichi. And you had both of them making sweets for Keiichi and putting needles in them. You cannot say that they were fucking sane, okay? You can't. You cannot say that they weren't trying to fucking... And then, when they were holding Keiichi down, that shot, it looked a lot like a level 5 shot to me, okay? Which, of course, would have caused Keiichi to claw out his own throat, which he did anyways, but still. That looked a lot like a level 5 shot to me. Seriously. So, anyways, though. So that's explained, in the final arc of... Rena's madness in the final arc of the first season is explained as that because apparently she left Hinamizawa for a while and that caused the Hinamizawa syndrome to infect her, okay? Shion's madness is explained as that during her central arc in the first season. So is Satoko's. So all of that is explained as being because of the Hinamizawa syndrome. Okay, so at least all of that was explained, which is good. Of course. Now, a lot of people don't like this season because it's a lot different from the first. The first season was basically heavy on gore and violence, okay? That's completely undeniable. It really was. And this series really isn't. Like, there is still gore, but it's not nearly as much, or it's not nearly as heavy as it was in Season 1, okay? And because of that, I can understand why people wouldn't like it, but that's not the point. First off, the suspense is still there. The suspense might not be as high as in the first season, but it's still there, okay? So, yeah, I just want to say that real quick, that the suspense is definitely still there. In terms of actual suspense, and also like the season is meant to give answers to everything, okay? Like, it's not meant for the violence, and that's not what they were going for at all. So, well, let's see. What else did I like about this season? Well, like in the first season, the pacing was so fucking good. Like, they could have so much happen in just one episode. And for it not, like a normal length episode, obviously, and for it not to seem like too fast-paced at all. That takes great writing right there. And this series has great writing. Okay, it really does. Because of the pacing and how much content you can actually get out of a single episode without seeming too fast-paced. So that's something I really do have to compliment it on. And in terms of writing, the rest of the writing is also really good for the most part. Like, it really is. Now we get into the complaints. First off, the art and animation as always in this series. The art is generic, standard, and uninspired, and the animation, for the most part, really fucking sucks. Okay? Also, there are questions that are not answered, unfortunately. You know something? I thought this was supposed to be the answer season where we get answers to every single fucking question built up in season 1 that was not answered in season 1. Apparently not, though. First off, the first episode was a complete fucking mystery. I kind of assumed that was like a what if scenario, like a futuristic what if scenario, but that was never fucking explained. But in terms of questions that were built in season 1 that wasn't answered in season, the truth about Rika was not fully or it was not fully explained. We learned that for some reason she is the queen carrier of the Hinamizawa syndrome, which means that if people... But why? Why? Was she a test subject or something? That's never fucking explained. And you know what? That wouldn't make sense anyways, because apparently the Hinamizawa syndrome existed when Mio was just a little girl, and Rika wouldn't have even been born yet. So that didn't make any sense. So why? And what about when people go away from her, they'll get infected? That makes no fucking sense at all. Normally, if someone's infected with a disease, you're supposed to stay away from them. The fuck? Never fucking explained properly. Also, there was a new character in this episode who apparently had ties, or in this series, who apparently had ties to Rika, called Hanyu. Never fucking explained. It's implied that she's literally God, but implying something is not explaining something. I'm sorry, but it's not. Either explain your plot point or don't create your plot point to begin with. Period. Also, Satoshi. Now, I want to make something clear here. They at least tried to explain a little bit about him, but not completely. Like, we obviously know that he's technically alive. Okay, which... You know, at first we thought he ran away for some reason. And he even said in the series when it was explaining about him that he was considering running away. But then he got infected by the Hinamizawa syndrome, so we thought he was dead. But then, towards the end of the series, it's like, well, apparently he's still alive, but he's still infected. And Dr. Ire swore up and down that he was going to try to bring Satoshi back to Hinamizawa again, which... I don't think we really have any reason as of yet to discredit that, but it didn't happen. Now, again, there's more to... I've said this before, and I'll say it again. There's more to Higurashi. There's Higurashi Rei, and there's Higurashi Akira, and there's also the movie Higurashi Outbreak. So, yeah, out of all of that, 9 more episodes and a movie... They could possibly explain more of this, but I have to at least... See, that for me is kind of a partial positive and partial negative, because at least they explained that he's still alive, which is good, but they didn't really finish his story at all, I really don't think. So, yeah. Let's see here. What else did they not explain? Ah, yes. They did not explain. Hold on a sec here. I want to take a quick drink real quick first before I talk about this. Stupidity here. They did not fucking explain the biggest question that the series has had since the first arc of the first season finished. That would be, why do all of these fucking time loops or restarts happen? Whatever the fuck you want to call them. Why do they fucking happen? That was never fucking explained. Never. That's the biggest question I wanted to know. Granted, I wanted to know everything else too, but that above all else. I had high hopes. I was thinking, okay, since it's the biggest question, they'll probably wait to the very last episode to explain it, or something like that, or damn well near there. But no, they didn't explain that at all. Why did all these restarts happen? I can only assume that it had something to do with both Hanyu and Rika, but here's the thing. I don't fully see how it could have anything to do with Hanyu, because Hanyu, before the final arc, was a ghost. who constantly claimed that she could not do anything but observe. So how could she be the result of all the time loops? And if she wasn't, why didn't she stop them? And they can't be. I don't see how it can be Rika, because she was the one who was trying to stop them. If she was the result of them, you'd think she'd be able to fucking stop them. I don't get it at all. Apparently, Rika and Hanyu have been traveling like that for over 100 years, or was it over 1,000 years or something? I don't get it at all. Why did they fucking happen? The biggest question, not answered. Not even attempted to be answered. Granted, they did something I didn't think they would do, which is that that in the final arc, Rika actually told everyone about their previous lives, apparently, and they actually believed her, okay? Which was very interesting. Like, when we were getting close to the end of the series, I actually honestly didn't think they'd actually do that, but she actually did, which was really cool, okay? It really was, don't get me wrong, but still, the biggest question they did not fucking answer, so, yeah, anyways. So, what other complaints do I have? Well, the ending scene of the final episode, okay. As far as I'm concerned, Higurashi Kai ended before the final scene of the final episode. Immediately before that, that's when the story ended. Because that final scene was complete fucking horseshit. Seriously, it had Mio Takano, after she was defeated, as a child with her fucking parents. What? Living a happy life. Complete fucking mindfuck. I thought we were done with the mindfucks in this series. Seriously. So that was a huge fucking complaint of mine. Like, and again, as far as I'm concerned, that scene does not exist. Okay? It really doesn't. So yeah, I'm able to think a little bit more highly of this series if I just pretend that it doesn't exist. So anyways, though. Yeah, is there really any other complaints that I have? I really don't think so. Like in the first season, the music is really fucking good. They don't always use music in every single scene, but when they don't use it, it fits. And when they do use it, the music's really good and it fits. So no, I really have no complaints with the music at all. Okay, so I think that's really it for my review, though. If you have seen the first season and yet see this season, well, obviously I do recommend that you see it, because you will get a lot of answers, but I have to warn you, though. You're not going to get every single answer, okay? You're probably hoping that you will. You just won't, and it's bullshit. I know, especially that biggest one, which I'm going to try to stop talking about that. All right. Anyways, well, despite my complaints, I did really love this season. Okay, I did, and I definitely recommend it. So anyways, overall, I hope you enjoyed this review, guys. See you guys. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.